What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zamboni. I'm an herbalist and astrologer, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. As always, thank you so much for helping me out in all the ways that you can. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing it with your friend. Thank you for sending me a tip via Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Thank you for getting a reading. Thank you for joining Patreon. Thank you for all of the things. I super appreciate you being a part of this community. Let's talk about the astrology of the week ahead. So, this week, we've got this Mars Mercury thing. Last week, Mercury moved into Virgo. Mars is already there. Venus is there, right? This week, Venus is going to get out of Virgo, right? And so this is a good move for Venus. Venus is a little bit uncomfortable in Virgo, is really good at finding fault or finding problems with things in Virgo, which I always talk about that being a super good for quality control, can like tend toward neurosis, right? But Venus is going to move out of Virgo and into Libra. Now, this is a good switch for Venus. Venus rules Libra, so Venus is very comfortable and at home in Libra. This is very helpful, sort of like on the world stage, in the way that we think of, so we can think about how Jupiter in Aquarius with Saturn and Venus in Virgo with Mars. That's just, when we think of beneficence, when we think of the good things, the things that we like, the things that are comfortable, then we can see how the sky indicates that those things are fraught with difficulty in some kind of way. They come with challenges, obstacles, conflicts, bullshit. They come with shit that you have to deal with in some kind of way. It's not easy to get to the joy and the ease and the togetherness and the harmony in these kinds of things. That's what we see whenever we have benefics that are in signs that they're not strong in, and or with malefics. We've had this situation for much of 2020 and for a little while now in 2021, since Jupiter's been back in Aquarius and Venus has been in Virgo with Mars. And Venus has actually been with Mars since they were back in Leo together. And so this has sort of been the thing. Like, it's a little bit just difficult to get to the nice stuff. It's difficult to get to the sweetness, right? But then as Venus moves into Libra, Jupiter still stays in Aquarius, but as Venus moves into Libra, then the Venusian piece becomes a little bit easier. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of it. It gets a lot of it easier at that point. It's, the Venus principle is much easier from Libra. Now, when we're thinking about Venus things, we're thinking about togetherness, right? Venus wants to take two things and put them together. We're thinking about cohesive. We're thinking about adhesive. We're thinking about being sticky or clingy in some kind of way. That can happen as well. We can think about agreement or accord or harmony or any of this sort of togetherness, working together, cooperation, all that sort of stuff. We can see that with Venus. And so that's what Venus wants to move toward. And Venus being in a strong position is in a great position to move toward this. Now, if you check out my monthly forecast, then you'll find a nice election this week. For, I think it's the 17th in the morning. And so the link is in my bio. You can also check out breadxbutter.com, which is where that is at. Shouts to Bread and Butter. Hi, I see you, boo boo. And so but there's a nice election with Venus right on the eastern horizon, and it's a nice moment to move toward togetherness and this sort of thing. Now, I do an electional report every month where I talk about nice times to launch things, to move toward togetherness, towards harmony, success, and times to wait as well. And so you can check that out on my Patreon. You can also just buy it straight off of my website if you don't want to subscribe or anything like that. So yeah. On the 17th, there's a really nice moment because Venus has just moved into Libra, and we can start getting some of that Venus in Libra. Venus in Libra is going to be really diplomatic, going to be really good at communication. It's going to be really good because this is an air sign, Venus, right? And making a nice trine to Saturn as well. And Saturn is there with Jupiter. So Saturn has been kind of a bummer for a number of years now. And by a number, I mean 2, especially. But maybe, like up to 4 or something like this. Saturn in Capricorn was a bit rough the whole way through, although it's very strong. But And so Saturn in Capricorn was actually making a square aspect to Venus in Libra. Every time Venus would go through Libra, then Saturn would make a square to it. And so there's this like tension or roughness there, right? But then as Venus moves into Libra this time, then we get a nice trine with Saturn in Aquarius. This is cooperative. This is helpful. This is really good for founding principles. This is maybe, so I've been talking about Saturn and systems management for a little while now, right? And so Saturn and systems management in Aquarius has been the major project. And so with Venus coming in, then it feels like something cooperative. It feels like being able to explain or communicate the thing that you've been trying to work with to another, and maybe get some kind of cooperation, some kind of synergistic moment, right? Now, this is especially helpful at a moment where Mercury and Mars are also in Virgo and trine to Uranus and Taurus. Remember that Uranus and Taurus is actually in a Venus sign, so it's going to be sort of taking cues from that Venus, right? And Mercury and Mars in Virgo are in a Mercury sign, and so they're going to be doing Mercury stuff. Again, we're looking at communications. In Virgo, I think a lot more about engineering. Virgo's an earth sign, so I think about practical concerns. I think about things that are tangible, right? Now, Mercury, Mars, that's going to want to put some stress on stuff. That's going to want to put some pressure on things. Mars is going to be a little bit impatient, right? And so a trine from Uranus, a trine is a nice aspect. It's one of our sort of confluent, flowing together ones. They can see each other. It's an earth sign to an earth sign. But Uranus and Mars, both in the same pot, is very volatile. We're definitely not looking at Mars is a little rushed, and so a trine from Uranus is going to chill that out. That's not true at all. A trine from Uranus is going to be like, yeah, do that, go, 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 right? And so, I've been thinking about maybe stress testing some of the engineering systems that you've been looking at, and then sort of being open. One of the most important things about when I think about scientific method and this sort of stuff, right? One of the most important things about this is being open to the fact that maybe it's not going to go down the way that I thought it did, right? And so with Uranus around, generating unconventional attitudes, and unexpected results, surprises, things of this nature, then to have Uranus around at a moment when you're doing the Mercury-Mars is stress testing the engineering principle, and then Uranus comes in with something helpful in a trine aspect, and this feels a little bit like there's some kind of unexpected result that, if you were open to it, can maybe be worked into your plan or your schematic so as to make it more efficient overall, so as to make a better form. And so I think that the Venus in Libra trine to Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius is a really nice complement to the Mars-Mercury trine to Uranus and Taurus. So those are off axis, so they can't really see each other. The main connection that they have is through that Venus link, right? And so this is a really good week to lean into Venus, to lean into accord and harmony, attraction. All the Venus stuff is going to be really on and popping this week. We can think about all the charming things and wanting to be in the same room and working together and all of this sort of stuff. We're just going to have much more of this on offer this week and in the next couple of weeks. So we've got a nice opportunity here, even though we're looking at, so I called it stress testing, right? There's some stress as far as the Mercury is concerned. A lot of times I delineate Mercury Mars as angry words. Mercury is the words and Mars is the anger or the frustration. This can, or a sharp tongue, right? Something like this. This is just Mad Libs, right? But with that kind of thing in mind, we can see how it's stressful. We can see how there are some problems around that are totally possible, right? But how can we make those problems work for us? Who does number 2 work for, right? So, all right, I'm done now. I'm playing games. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for sending me a tip if you're having fun, if you are finding something useful. Check out the electional report on Patreon, or just check out the electional report on my website, zambonifunk.com. All the links are in my bio and all this. I really appreciate all y'all for hanging out. Thank you for watching me do Kung Fu on my stories. I really appreciate you. I'll see you next week. Bye.